While you were going about your day.
Flying disc.
God bless all of you.
This is the first DUM back.
DUM!
The second dumbing. That's
What about DUM, all ye faithful?
well. Welcome back to DUM.
I've heard of this DUM.
We've got some new friends.
My name is Jack.
What's your name?
My name's Will.
And
I'm Mitch.
So, haven't you got a pretty exciting interview coming up?
I'm quite excited. It is one of the smartest minds of our generation. In living memory as well. He's still alive, but like he's still in living memory as well. That's how good he is.
Who is it? I mean, I don't know. Who is it?
Yeah, well,
The person I'm going to go meet is none other than Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking.
Wow, that's a big name.
How did you even get in contact with, someone of his stature? Hawking.
Hawking, yeah.
Maybe he likes hawking.
What is hawking?
Yeah.
Well, you got a hawk on your arm and a glove, and then it just flies. It's kind of like a remote control helicopter, but it's alive.
I actually imagine that he'd be really good at that.
The skill is in training the hawk so it actually comes back to you rather than just flying off.
So, the hawk knows where he
But
is.
the glove's the main part.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you straight, that was some of the craziest shit I ever heard. Now here's Catronata with a Janet Jackson remix. Holla.
DUM is back. This is the second season of DUM.
dumb.
Will, you got a strange email.
Well, I got an email this morning and it was titled, "Why do we buy milk cartons instead of cows?" I didn't read the email.
I mean, initially, Jack, what comes to your mind when you hear that?
Well, it's just slight confusion, really. What do you guys think?
Old techniques. But I think the reason we don't buy cows anymore is mainly ignorance, but also space. I don't know if you've tried to fit a cow in the kitchen, it's hard.
It's ergonomically impossible.
And you have to buy a bigger fridge.
I mean, back in the day, people had shorter distances to go. They could take their cow with them, lock it up around the back with other people's cows. And
cow shed.
In the cow shed, that's what I mean. The cow shed, instead of a bike shed, a cow shed, you could, travel on the cow. And then also, people nowadays, they're a bit afraid of milking a cow. It's all right milking a carton, that's easy.
It is, yeah.
But a cow, it's a bit more difficult.
And can you buy a cow from a supermarket nowadays? So I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think we've missed a trick in the cows, really.
I mean, I've come across many different kinds of milk. You don't need to have cows anymore. You can have a pocket full of beans. But how do you milk a bean? How do you milk a bean? And that's just so small.
But we need milk,
bean.
for God's sake. Milk is integral to health.
Well, where do cows stand in today's society?
Well, they're the common denominator.
What's a common denominator?
The lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
So it's just like, they...
Like when you had a cow back in the day, like compared to nowadays, you've got a beef sandwich, glass of milk, and a leather jacket, like all in one. And
now you get a mess.
What do you get if you sit underneath a cow?
Yeah, it's almost like a mystery. I was thinking more just kind of like scabby teats. But
I don't know, they're kind of like nipples, but they're like just so elongated.
like really big nipples.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you look at a cow?
The laughing cow.
Like the laughing cow, there you go.
Yeah, the laughing cow. And that's how we like to remember cows. Happy, not like the ones that you see on movies, like getting sucked up by a spaceship. The look of distress on the cow's face.
Yeah, there's you get the cows are kind of like the token kill in some alien films. Really, it's just like the cheap joke kill, isn't it? I'm sure Peter is involved in this somehow. I'm not too sure.
Peter?
Yeah, the protection environment against animals. Peter.
Oh, PETA.
Yeah, that's like
Blue.
That's guy Peter. I
Blue
used to know.
Peter.
Like, you just fucking hate your cows.
So from the conclusion I've got from that is just look after your cows. You don't need to carry them around anymore, which is a benefit. And I mean, was there anything to add to that?
Well, I just don't know why I got sent it an email at 9, in the morning.
We bloody love cars here. Now we're gonna listen to L Train and Twin Star Harlan.
It's time for part one of the Stephen Hawking interview. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm really excited to be here, actually finally meeting Stephen Hawking. And you know, where is Stephen then?
Well, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. I came here to meet Stephen Hawking, the theoretical physicist.
Well, I'm not a theoretical physicist, mate. My name's Stephen Hawking. Like, you called me here for an interview, so I thought I'd come along. But I don't know if I am who you think I am.
Well, I mean, I came here to actually meet Stephen Hawking for an interview about science. I mean, do you know anything about science?
A little bit. I know that the adult carrot fly is 1.5 centimetres long.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's a great fact. But what am I supposed to do now? Well, I'm in Cambridge. Do you know Stephen Hawking? Have you met him around here at all?
Well, as it happens, I saw him down the high street about 10 minutes ago. I'm sure if we run into W.H. Smith, he'll be there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Are you serious?
Deadly serious.
Oh my god! Well, I'm gonna run down there in a minute. I mean, have you got any other facts, like?
Asparagus makes you wee smell.
Well, I'm gonna leave now anyway. But it's nice to meet you, Stephen. Yeah, we're back. The return of DUM. And so we're going to talk about whale washed up on a beach. Like, actually, that's most of the time I see whales. You don't really see them in the water that much.
You don't. They're quite lonely creatures, really. They're the Barry Manilow of the ocean.
It ate a load of plastic and then got washed up on a beach.
Yeah.
Everyone's annoyed because they were, the plastic came from Hungry Joe's.
It was Hungry Joe's.
One thing I was just trying to get to the bottom of was, did the whale eat the plastic, choke, and then it did a whale drown, where if people fall into water, they drown in the water, but when whales drown, they land on a beach.
Whale drown.
Or did it just eat the plastic and then just do a whale drown anyway? It wasn't the plastic that made it do a
Whale drown.
The plastic made him what he is today.
He might have become addicted to it, and it was just the course of addiction that led him to whale drown.
Yeah, it was the course of addiction that made him whale drown, but if he didn't eat that plastic, if he didn't wash up on the beach, no one would even know who he is.
That's true. It was kind of like a dirty protest, but he didn't shit himself or whatever, he just whale drowned.
He whale drowned.
Whale drown.
What are those things called when people are at protests and they've got the sign? What's that?
Placard.
Logo.
Placard.
Whales don't have hands. They can't write. They can't create a placard.
Yeah, but there's got to be placards floating about. A whale can cover a lot of ground.
He can.
So he could have got a placard and put it in his blowhole. Whatever point he was trying to make, I'm sure there's a placard in the sea out there.
But it would be really hard to maybe come across one that represents exactly how you feel. What about like the Japanese sailors that go and actively hunt whales to find the plastic that's inside of them?
So the plastic hunters.
There's not many sources of plastic anymore, and whales are one of the last ones.
It's a finite resource, really.
It's amazing that they came and actually cleaned up that big vortex of plastic in the middle of the ocean, but at what cost?
The whales cost. Their addiction is going crazy.
Using seals like toothpicks.
Exactly. Like humans are 99% water. Whales are 99% plastic.
Well, I thought they were 99% human. The dolphins eat plastic, because they're supposed to be quite intelligent like humans, and we don't eat plastic.
They're smart, but I mean, plastic doesn't really do much for us. It's got something to do with being an aqualine creature, which is a word. Aqualine is a word. That's what we call creatures of the sea and of the rivers.
Does Stephen Hawking know anything about whales?
Make sure to ask him about the whale thing. The world's inside out for a whale compared to us, and I want to know what he thinks about the whale drowning thing.
Now it's time for the Stephen Hawkman interview, part 2 with the actual Hawkman.
You'll never believe this. I'm here. I've just run into W.H. Smith, and here's Stephen Hawking. His minder says I can have a minute with him. I'm really excited to meet you, Stephen. Okay. Well, I'm sure he would say it's exciting. So Stephen, let me ask you a question. What do you think about science? What are you doing? I'm trying to speak to. Why is he not replying?
Oh, well, it takes about a minute to get a normal sentence out. How long have you got here? Because you're kind of sticking that thing in his face and he's getting flustered.
Yeah, well, you said I could have a minute with him. I don't know what to ask. I've just asked a question, though. We've just got to wait for him to reply before we can...
Yeah, you can see him doing something there. What do you expect of the man?
Well, I mean, yeah, I didn't know really what to expect. I just kind of came here. Someone said I could interview him. He's not. I know he's not doing much, but I'm, running out of time here.
Well, I mean, you just have to wait. I mean, we had this on the One Show as well. People think, oh, he's written this big book and he's clearly clever, but at the end of the day, he can't talk very quickly, and that's it, really.
I mean, that makes actually quite a lot of sense, but it's literally like, looking at a living statue. What are you even doing in W.H. Smith's? What, does he read books from here? Do you read it?
Well, yeah, we're gonna get. He wanted a pad and a pencil, and we're gonna go punting, and I'm gonna sketch the river, and he's gonna kind of just watch. Really, it's relaxing for him.
You're gonna go punting?
Yeah, he loves to punt. He's a big punter, and he lives in Cambridge. It's one of the finest cities in the UK, and it's one of the only places where you can punt every day if you want to.
I bet it's actually quite relaxing on the water.
Shut the fuck up.
Did he just say that? Did he just swear at me?
Thing is, it takes him a minute to write, so I'm guessing that's what he was writing this whole time.
Shut the fuck up.
He's swearing at me. Oh my God, Stephen Hawking is swearing at me. This is the coolest day ever.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, he didn't like that. Make him stop.
It's all right. No,
Shut the fuck up.
Come on, Stephen. The boat's waiting.
There's children crying over there. There's children crying. He's swearing at him.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
He's swearing at him. Like, I'm gonna unplug him.
Shut the fuck up.
You can't unplug him.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean,
I'm gonna unplug him.
It runs off Google. You can't unplug him.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna unplug him. Watch this.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I can't tell if he's dead or not. Still, it just looks exactly the same. He might be dead. If he didn't have that computer, he'd be dead. Well, I'm gonna run now anyway.
And this song was Young Lean Head Drip Drop Remix. Okay.
Well, that was a great song and a great interview, potentially, with Stephen Hawking.
He had a lot to say for himself.
Not enough, and then too much.
Yeah, at the same time.
Well, we've got some really upbeat news now. An injured man was been found and he was trapped in a cave for 12 days. The reason was kind of unclear why he was trapped in a cave.
I hear that he dropped a sandwich down a manhole cover and he decided to go after the sandwich.
It's kind of like a sequel to the Chilean Miners, but you can decide whether you think that's better or worse than the Chilean Miners. I think it's less exciting.
It's less exciting, but it's just one man. And, you know, apparently it wasn't really that much of an ordeal for him personally, because when he got like trapped down in the cave, there was a lot of like art there that had been left by Aborigines.
I hear to kind of like alleviate the boredom, he sang the entire backlog to Whitney Houston, Bodyguard soundtrack.
Absolutely great record.
It was.
Yeah, before its time.
It was, anachronistic.
That's it, it's just seminal. The man in the cave, you know, did he get hungry? What did he say about what he ate for 12 days?
It's hard. I mean, he said nothing, in fact, which I found weird, because you'd think that's what he was talking about. Oh, he had to eat his own boots to survive, but this guy didn't say anything. In fact, some eyewitnesses said he looked fatter than when he went in.
That is suspicious.
I'm speculating, but I think he had actually been eating plastic down there, and that's the reason he went down there, because he was a notorious dumping ground.
There wouldn't be any sandwich left if he wasn't eating plastic.
And he went down there because he fancied some plastic.
I mean, the rescue operation, they obviously went down there, they knew he was down there, they could hear noises, they had, rats that they've got microchips on that were sent into the cave.
Dolphins.
They're kind of dolphins, highly intelligent and also, able to swim.
And work with humans without much conflict.
Yeah, and they sleep one side at a time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. And they sent them in there and to find him, and then obviously just kind of broke in. But when he got out, he was completely clean. He smelled like he just had a bath.
Jojoba, I heard, was the one smell that everyone said, why does he smell of jojoba? And he had nothing to say about that either.
I mean, when they interviewed him, you think they'd be like, oh my god, thank you so much for saving my life, thank you for letting me out. But he was just like, cheers guys, and then just kind of walked off.
Yeah, quite as if he was quite happy where he was in the cave.
Most people would go home and see their wife and kids, but he went straight to work. He works in a marketing company, and they send around emails.
Is that in the marketing department?
Mark Keating works there.
Oh, he does.
He invented marketing, I think.
This is Mark Keating.
When they tried to interview the cave didn't say anything. I think he was having an affair with the cave.
I think so. And his wife back home is not so pleased.
No.
To hear that he's been inside a cage for the past 12 days.
I mean, she was actually quite disappointed when he came back. She was like, oh, he's safe. Maybe think it might be her, but then the cave not saying anything. That makes me think, maybe the cave's in on this. Maybe he was in on the cave.
Well, she's had a traumatic time, but she likes to take the recycling out, and over the last year, she's been having to only do it twice as much.
Well, she's been noticing a lot of plastic on this.
Well, that's it. There's no plastic to recycle anymore, and she didn't know why, because they pretty much only eat ready meals from Hungry Joe's, and the plastic had gone. So she stopped buying them. She stopped buying plastic altogether, in fact.
And then the kids couldn't eat. So.
What's the cave going to eat?
Yeah.
Eats what caves do.
Well, I was going to say a cave is pretty much, a land whale. If you put a cave in water, it will drown.
All the caves are drowning.
There's that song, isn't there?
And now we have a Leno remix of Pharrell Williams' Happy to finish off the song day.
Baby
up.